I can never decide whether I've completely ruined my life and driven myself down a dead end, or whether I just found what made me happy a lot earlier on in life than a lot of people do, and so I've tried to dedicate myself to doing that forevermore. The clip you're about to see is from almost 15 years ago.
Hey there folks, I just wanted to share this random moment of life with you. It's almost midnight on a random Tuesday evening. I'm currently sat on a little camping chair on top of an old Iron Age hill fort. I'm currently looking through my little telescope.
What's better than being on an Iron Age hill fort in the pitch black, looking at the stars through a telescope, is this little detail.
And you may be thinking there's something missing. Well, of course there is. But don't worry, I have got a pizza as well.
The reason that I opened this video with such a stark question about whether I've completely ruined and wasted my life or not is because that footage was from my early 20s, and now I'm speaking to you in my late 30s, as much as I hate to admit that, and yet here I am still doing the same things. There's actually a bit of a running joke amongst some of my subscribers because so many of my recent videos have taken place out around midnight and beyond, out looking at the stars and just wandering around in these very dark, very late times. And even more stark than that, all these years later, I even recently was on that very hill fort taking photos of the night sky. And I just think it's, in some respects, it's amazing, this direct line from that footage recorded all those years ago to me still being there all this time later, absolutely loving it, and looking at the stars from almost the exact same spot. And I'm smiling and filled with joy as I talk about this, but I also know there's so many things that I've missed out on in the wider world because I've spent so much of my time looking up and surrounded by darkness in a very physical and literal sense, not in a magical sort of metaphysical sense, I hope. It was actually my love of astronomy that helped change the course of my life and drive me towards the decision to live on a boat, because I knew I could moor up in these amazing rural places and observe these incredible dark skies and wonder as I looked through the telescope at a slightly clearer image of a grey blob of some sort of nebula in the distance. The absolute, complete and honest reality for me when I think about astronomy and its impact on my life is that firstly it's fetched me a huge amount of peace and great amount of joy as I've been looking through telescopes and with the naked eye over the years, but also, probably more significantly than I could ever fully realise myself observing it, is that from that young age it instilled in me this idea of absolute insignificance and humility, that I was able to look up from an Iron Age hill fort that was thousands of years old into the impossible depths of space and time and realise that even that hill fort and how massive that seemed was insignificant. It wasn't even a speck on the timeline of history. It wasn't even a dot in the grand panorama of the entire universe. And so me, as a tiny little fleeting human being, well, what significance did that really have? And that's something that probably sounds quite depressing, probably sounds quite a negative feeling, but I promise you it actually had a tremendously freeing and tremendously, I don't know if I'd say uplifting, but it made me feel a lot lighter and like there was a lot less pressure on me and a lot less pressure on life. Perhaps I'm just absolutely losing it in my old age.